Hey guys, I'm Tori and today I'll show you how to dye furniture with the example of this office chair right here. So let's just jump into it. So I've had this chair for about a year now. It is a gorgeous 60-year-old chair that really shows no signs of wear and tear anywhere. It's really comfortable. The only sign of wear is the seat. It has this orange spot right here. And this discoloration probably came from being in the sunlight for a long time or something like that. So today we will be restoring this office chair seat to its original black color with black dye. So let's jump into the materials now. Of course, first you'll need the furniture that you're dyeing. You'll also need a vacuum or anything else you need to clean your furniture, as well as dye and a brush, and a bowl or container for your dye. So we're going to get started by vacuuming the seat of your chair or furniture or whatever you're doing, and you really want to get all of the dust, dirt, and grime off of there. Having a clean surface really helps the dye stick on a lot better, and prep work is really key for having a nice final product. Next, you're going to want to get some hot water to pour your dye into. As I mentioned, I'm using this black Rit dye. It is an 8-ounce bottle that I bought from Amazon for $3.25. I think you can find this pretty much anywhere though. You might even be able to find it cheaper. I should have measured out how much I was pouring in. I just kind of eyeballed it. Since I'm using black, I figured it's probably better to use too much than not enough. But do whatever mix you need to do for your project, and you should research this step. Between 2 layers, I ended up using about 4 ounces. Next, you're going to want to give it a nice little stir to get an even distribution of dye in your water. And then you can start dyeing. So just dip your paintbrush into your dye and water solution, and then just start spreading it evenly on your surface, whichever way you want to do it. In this case, I started off by just using like brush strokes almost, trying to get it on there evenly everywhere. But then in my second layer, I actually changed my technique. In the second coat, you'll see I do more of a scrubbing technique just to get it really deep in there. But the key is to have an even distribution. You don't want half of your furniture looking darker than the other half. And now we're just going to let it dry before the second coat of dye. So we're going to get started by adding more hot water to our dye, as well as a little bit more dye. And once again, we're going to want to give it a quick little stir, and we're ready to hop back into the second coat. So as I mentioned earlier, this time around I went with a little dap and scrub technique. I saw a lot of people online using scrubbers or sponges to really work it into the fabric, and that made a lot of sense to me, so I figured I should try that out. You really want to make sure, once again, that you're distributing the dye evenly on your surface, but you also want to make sure that your surface is absorbing the dye. So that's why I went with this, scrubbing technique. Different materials probably have different optimal techniques, but this is what worked for me. You really want to be careful around the crevices and edges. If your furniture has buttons or seams or things like that, you really want to make sure that you distribute your dye evenly on there. And that's it. We were done with the second coat after that point, and I'm really happy with the final result. I think it looks brand spanking new, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. As you can see, I have even distribution. You don't have some spots that are darker than others, and it's not very noticeable that I dyed this chair. This was my first time ever really dyeing anything, and I'm really happy with the result. I will definitely dye more things in the future. And here we will see the before and after side by side. You can see how bad the orange was before compared to how it is now, and it really does look brand new. So if I was to do this project again, there are a couple things I would do differently. Starting off, I would try to measure how much dye I was using just for future reference, or so I can tell you guys exactly what I did. I think that would be helpful. Second off, I used a used brush, but I think it's worth it to buy a new one. Mine had paint on it already, and as I was scrubbing it on, these little paint flakes were like jumping off, and later I can just brush them off or something like that. But they got in the way when I was when I was dyeing, so I would highly recommend that you use a new brush, or one that hasn't been used for paint, or one that you washed well. I did not wash my brush well after I was painting, so I paid a little bit for that. Another thing I would do differently is I would lay some towels or something on the floor. I did get a little bit of dye on the floor, and it was kind of annoying to have to stop the dyeing process to clean it up, so I would have just laid some plastic or just done it outside, I guess. And lastly, I would have done the scrub technique in my first coat too. I switched it up for the second coat, and I really liked how it got on better the second time around, so I would have done that from the beginning if I were to do this all over again. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about dyeing furniture, please leave a comment below. This is my first time doing it, so you should have pretty good success on your first time. This is a pretty easy project, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks, bye.